How can I, in my submissive space, be more mindful about how I share personal reflections and insights with my dominant? I'm currently flooded with epiphanies about DS as I'm in the process of doing therapy and working on some neglected parts of myself. Sometimes when I share, his response is that he loves hearing the thoughts, but doesn't know how to use the information in the moment and thus doesn't quite know what to respond with. I don't want to make this all about me or my very particular insights, given it's our collective DS journey, but I do want to share with him in order to connect and show him what's on my mind. The sharing happens mostly over text, and I sometimes feel I'm flooding the info channels a bit more than necessary, though. Any thoughts and advice would be appreciated. Communication is a big deal. My philosophy is if you cannot communicate as vanilla partners, you certainly are not ready for kink, because BDSM is so deep and so juicy and requires intimacy, but it demands intimacy at the same time. So if you're not ready to into me, you see through the channel of communication, BDSM is going to be rather rough for you. So that's why I think this question is so important. The first thing is, to me, it seems very clear that as much as this may be the phrasing, the goal is actually not being articulated completely here. And how I interpret this is the goal, the actual root behind the question is, how do I connect with my dominant after I share these things, right? Because the question is stated, how can I be more mindful about how I share? But the issue coming up is not sharing, it's the response that the submissive is getting. Therefore, that indicates to me that the issue here is not actually how do I share or how do I be more mindful. The issue is actually we, as the submissive, are trying to volley intimate information over so that we can connect with our dominant. And it sounds like the dominant doesn't know how to use that information to connect with his submissive. That's the interpretation that I'm getting. Anyone following my logic on that? And I say that because of this line right here. When I share, his response is that he loves hearing the thoughts. So he's trying to give validation, but doesn't know how to use the information in the moment and thus doesn't know really how to respond. So then we go, I do want to share with him in order to connect. There's our actual goal, and show him what's on my mind. So, my first question for you, my dear, who submitted this question is, if the goal is connection, if the goal is to show him what's on your mind, what type of connection are you looking for? What type of response are you looking for? Are you trying to initiate a deep intellectual conversation where you debate or discuss BS philosophies? Is the connection that you're looking for more emotional, where you feel like this is really deep and really intimate and you're volleying it over because you want validation and empathy and you want him to mirror back to you your experience, to feel seen and to feel understood? When you share, are you wanting that sharing to turn into physical connection where he receives what you're saying and then he holds you and he gives you kisses and he thanks you for being open and vulnerable with him? What type of connection are you looking for? What is the goal? Because you said, I want to connect. I want to show him what's on my mind. But what specifically, what kind of response specifically are you looking for? What would, in other words, what would make you feel connected? Because it seems like he's trying. He just doesn't know, like you said, where to go with it. What do I do with this information? So maybe it's time for you to be a little bit more vulnerable and honest. And I think that if you were to tell your dominant specifically, this is when I share things with you, this is what I'm hoping to accomplish. A deep conversation, whatever, fill in the blank. This is what I'm looking for. Not to control, but your dominant can't read your mind. And if you feel like your dominant is getting this data, but he doesn't know what to do with it, then it's time for you to be vulnerable and honest and truthful about you. And go, when I share this with you, this is what I'm hoping to get back from you. When I share this with you, this is a need that I'm trying to express. This is a desire that I have. When I share these deep, vulnerable things or insights about my submission to you, about our dynamic, I would like us to do this about it. I would like this to happen. This is the kind of connection and intimacy that I'm seeking here. That would be number one. The second one, you said that most of this happens through text. And I'm not sure if this is a distance thing or not. You know, you don't live together, whatever. And that's fine. I would still encourage you, pick up the phone. Have that conversation voice to voice, even if you can't do it in person. Because it sounds to me, and I could be wrong here, but it seems to me like perhaps, the texting modality is allowing you to hide. It's allowing you to stay safe, not actually reach the level of vulnerability like we were just discussing that needs to happen for him for it to click. Oh, this is what my submissive is looking for. This is how they need to feel connected. And then my third thought, option, and piece of advice for you is, have you tried submissive journaling? We just talked about this last Sunday in my video, and then I have I have actually two. I have a submissive gratitude journal on Patreon, and then I have the current submissive transformation journal on Patreon. And so that's not something that you've considered or tried consistently before. That might be an option for you, where you journal these thoughts, you journal these epiphanies. And then when your dominant is ready, has the clear headspace and the energy to receive it, you offer your journal. And then you discuss based off of the highlights that your dominant found in your writing. That could very well be an option for you as well.